Hello. Okay, in this tutorial, we will show you how to use the invoicing tool of our RCM Streamline program. We will start where we stopped in our last tutorial of how to use the CMS 1500 form. If you haven't watched it first, I suggest you do it before watching this tutorial just to get a better understanding of where we're at. Notice that the provider name, which is the client for whom we completed the job, the claim, is test provider right over here. Once we finish filling out the CMS 1500 form, we will click Fill in CMS 1500 over here, and we get a new pop-up window, which is the payment model. So here you are prompted to choose a payment model that you're using for that specific client. The client that you see over here, you're always going to see the client name over here. How do you price your prices for this guy? And you get to choose from three different ways to price your services. One is per claim, per hour, or per successful collection of claim funds. If you wish to skip the invoicing stage, you can simply click the close button right here, click it, and you're going to get an alert. This alert verifies that you actually want to enter the billing data in a later time and you just want to quit. You don't want to do the invoicing. And we want to do the invoicing right now, so we will click no and get back to the payment model. For the sake of this tutorial, we will choose to charge that client per claim. So we're going to click per claims. And the first thing that pops up for a brand new client or a client that already has open invoices but not open accounts is the email. If you have the email in the database, it's not going to ask you for it, but over here, client email. Okay, we click OK, and it enters in the database. And now we get another message telling us that a new account was created for the client name. You're always going to see the client name over here. And it's asking, do you want to complete the invoice right now? You can always complete the invoice in a later time, but we want to do it right now. So we're going to click yes, and we get the invoice window right here. Okay, now if that specific client has open invoices from before, we will get a message informing us whether the client has any open invoices or balances. If they have credit, meaning we owe them money, we'll know how much it is. If there's a balance, meaning they owe us money from previous invoices, the program will inform us how much it is. So here is where we control the payments and the accounts receivable, what clients owe us and when they are due payment. Here we have the invoice date, which is automatically today's date. The due date, you can choose anywhere between net 7 to net 60. I'm gonna keep it at net 7, choose it. You got a job number over here. If there is any, if you want to use it, you can just click job number this, and the invoice number that always counts one after the invoice number that's already on the invoice, the previous invoice that you've sent before. The find button over here, find invoice number, is if you wish to locate an invoice that already exists in this database and see its details or bring it up to mark it as paid. We will get to this later. Box number 2 is the provider information or client information. We choose from provider names right here. So if we click over here, we're going to see a list of all the accounts, providers, invoices. Those provider names are automatically entered into the database once the CMS 1500 form is completed, and we click the button. We have the provider email, their address, city, state, and zip, and the job title. The job title is optional. If you want to include one, you can do it. It could be anything from form completion to whatever you think the invoice title should be. So let's go back. Once we click the provider name, a list will pop. So this one, test provider, click, and nothing happens because there is no information at the moment for that client. If we want to see a different client, a different account that was already created, let's say number one, we get all the information that the database has in here. So let's see what we have over here. Basically, there are three options to choose from this drop-down box. The first one is provider names, just the provider. It's not gonna show you the way it is right now. It's gonna give you the name of the provider because that's what you're gonna write in the CMS form, but you're just gonna have the name. The second one is a name with the number sign or the pound sign and a number right after it, which is the invoice. And the third one would be paid, written before the provider name, and then the invoice number assigned with the pound sign. So provider names, client names alone are accounts or open accounts. Data keeps getting added into the to the claims as they are finalized. So if you have an open account and you keep filling out claims for that specific client, the program and database will keep counting those claims, those hours for that specific client until the account turns into an open invoice. Names with the pound sign and a number behind it are open invoices. The program assigns a number to those invoices automatically per client. So if you had a client with like 5 open invoices, the next one that you turn, the next account that you turn into an invoice will be number 6 automatically. Paid invoices are closed invoices. The client already paid them, and you cannot add any more information to them. Same as the account. The only information that you can add the data into is an open account. A closed invoice will just create a new account if you try to do it for the same provider. An account can have more claims or hours or collections added to it until we create the invoice for that specific account. Once an invoice is created, we get more work from the same provider, then another account will be created. Once an invoice is paid, the invoice is closed, and if there is any balance or credit remained from that payment, then it will be added to the next account and from there to a new invoice. So let's choose the account that we just did. Usually, if an account already exists and we're coming back to it, then all the information in the database will show up in here as so. We got the email, the address, um, the city, state, and zip, and what we know. We know that we charge him per claim, and that the number of claim is 1 because we only did one claim for this client. We can add the job title as hello and know that all the data that we can extract from the CMS form goes into the database and from there over here and then back into the database once we fill out all the missing boxes. As you can see over here, we need the description of services, price per claim, a minimum monthly fee, extra services description, and extra services price. We will fill it out. So once we have all the information filled in, we can click the fill in sections 1 and 2. And we are jumping into the invoice, which is right here, the service invoice. And we see what was filled out for us. We got the bill too, that's the client's name, test provider, the address where the office is. We got the issue date, the due date for this specific invoice is 7 days from the 24th is the 31st. We got the invoice number and the job number, and the job title is right here. What we have left is to fill in sections 3 and 4 and 5. And once we click the fill in this button, a message comes up asking if you want to enter more services and charges in the invoice. That's up to you if you decide what else you bill your clients for. If you have extra services to charge, you can enter in extra services description box. If you need more rows, the rows over here, because each one will fill out a row with the services we just provided. So you can uh, do it on the invoice itself if it's easier for you, but it's always better to use the form because it sends all the necessary data into the database and keeps it there so we can later on manipulate it and extract data from it that is necessary for us to make better decisions. So we're going to click fill in 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, what we forgot is the price per claim, how much we're charging per each claim. Let's say $100. And we click fill in sections. And it's asking us what is the date of service, when we completed the job, what we want to put over here on the invoice. Let's say 10. Click OK. It was filled out. The invoice was created over here. And it's asking us, do you want to enter another service? So basically what it will do, it will erase all these boxes and we're going to have to enter new data into it, and it's going to keep doing it and doing it until you say no, there's no more services that we want to enter. So you're going to click no, and as you can see, the invoice billing amount is already calculated. What we have to do from now is uh, entering the tax rate, which is the state or sales tax. Let's put it at 7%. And once we'll click complete invoice creation right here, the balance due is calculated. All the data is entered in the database for us to further access it if we need it. So we're going to click it. And what we get is the client, the invoice that was created for it. It's test provider number 2, because we already have test provider number 1. That's the invoice that's created before. And the account information, he has 0 open invoices. That means he paid his invoices, 0 unpaid past due invoices. And it's asking you, do you want to add a credit balance to this invoice, or you want to ignore it, or you can choose to waive the credit or balance if you spoke with the client and you got to an agreement that the missing balance is waived, you can just click it. But for now, we're just going to click no. We don't want to add the open balances or credits into this invoice. So we're going to click no. And the invoice is complete. Now, what we have left is either to save the invoice as PDF right here, or we can email it to the client directly from here, which is also very easy with one click. Let's click email invoice to client, and we get this new box, the Gmail box. If we have the email address stored in the database, it will be entered in the box. If not, you can write it, and all we have to do is click Gmail, and it will use our Gmail account to email the invoice to the client. If we don't want to send it, we can abort just by clicking cancel. Click it over here, and it aborts everything. Now, if something like this happens, all the forms quit, you make it by mistake, whatever it is, all you need to do is click Control Q, and you can bring back the invoice window by clicking Create Invoice, and we got it over here. And we can choose our provider. This is the invoice. And as you can see, all the information is already here. And if we need to change it, we want to play with it, save it right now as PDF, whatever we want to do, we can do it again. Now, if the invoice was paid, then we would have seen the word paid before the provider name. And in section 7 right here is where the invoice information, we could see if it was paid, not paid, the date that it was paid, and the amount paid, and whether it was past due or not. So let's see, let's choose an open invoice. Oh, this is our open invoice. And it was created, it's waiting to be sent to a client and be paid. We can find an invoice by its number or by fetching it from the provider name box. Let's bring another invoice just by finding its number. Let's find this. And as you can see, that's an invoice that was paid. We can see that it was not paid in full, probably. The amount paid, every missing box, that's the balance that the client has. Any missing box, meaning the database doesn't have that information. So let's bring back the invoice that we created. We can do it from here as well. Choose this or this. So the program knows there's another invoice for that specific provider, and it wasn't paid in full, and this is the balance for test provider, probably test provider number 1, and that's the invoice that wasn't paid in full and still has a balance. So the client received their invoice, they want to pay it, they send us the payment for that invoice, and we want to indicate that the invoice was paid. So we just brought back all the information. We click invoice paid, and we are prompted to enter the amount that was paid. Let's say they paid us $900 for that invoice. We click OK, and we get the amount paid is bigger than the balance due. The client right now has credit of $44. Click OK. If a client pays more than the balance due is, then the credit will be added to his future accounts. If they paid less, then a balance will be added. That sums up the invoicing part of the RCM Streamline program. Let's close the invoice window. Okay, so this is our invoice right here. First, we'll see what's included, and then we'll show you how you can change the fonts, the wording, and even the logo. So here at the top left side, you can add your logo right here. The company name and your slogan. You can write your name over here, put your slogan if you have one. You can leave it blank if you want. That's up to you. Over here to the right, we have the issue date, the due date, the invoice number, and the job number. The bill to provider or client name and the address. So that's the client name and the address. If you need to add more stuff, you can do it yourself if you understand Excel. The beauty of this program is that it's composed on Excel. The program is Excel, so you have all the benefits you get from Excel and all the other Microsoft Office suite that you can always manipulate to your advantage. And the invoice pay amount is right here, so how much they have to pay us with tax and everything included. And the job title is right here. Here at the table, we have the date of service for each row of the invoice. You can see all the information that we've put in the invoice, what we filled out. And over here at the bottom, we have the subtotal. It's gonna basically sum up all the numbers over here. So if we add more numbers here, it will change the subtotal over here. This one is the tax, sales tax or state tax, whatever it is that you want to put in. Now over here is the credit or the balance. If the client has credit, it will show as a negative number. So let's add a negative number. And you can see over here, it shows credit and it was deducted. So if the client has a past due balance, it will show as a reminder over here of past due payment. And our records indicate that you have an open balance from previous invoices. So your client will know where the extra money comes from. If they don't have any past due balance, just delete this and it's not going to show. If they do have a balance of any amount, they will show here. Here at the bottom, you have the payment options. They are not necessary, but I find it useful for the client to know where or how they should pay you. You can change all of it. You can delete it if you want. But if you want to change the fonts, the size of the font and stuff like that, you can always do that. To change the font, simply select the cells and you can go to the Home tab and just choose from a number of fonts that you want to use. If you want to change the size, you can do it over here, and even the color, you can just do it over here. And anything that Excel has, you can do. Now to change the logo, all we have to do is click this one, delete it, click backspace or delete, and go to Insert, Pictures, Place over Cells, and choose this device. And we prepare the logo and click Insert. And we got a logo over here. We can play with it, make it smaller, make it bigger, whatever we need. And we're just going to drag it up and place it here. Play with it. And you got a new logo. You can always manipulate it by clicking it and going to picture format. And you can have lots of stuff going on over here. You can compress it, change it, do whatever you want, change the transparency, the colors. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it just to make sure your invoice stands out. Now, one last thing is the accounts receivable, the tabbed worksheet. All your accounts and invoices are located here in the accounts receivable. And in case you want to change things manually, you made mistakes, You want to add stuff automatic and manually and just do it yourself instead of using the Windows, even though we always suggest you use the window just to prevent errors and mistakes. But if you did find a mistake, you can just correct it right here. It has all the stuff the invoice has, and that's where all the data is coming from. Again, it's the accounts receivables. Now, to better visualize and see what you owed and how much they paid and stuff like that, you can always go to the dashboard and you're going to see the invoices total over here. That's one chart that we prepared. You can always, if you have any knowledge in Excel, Microsoft Office, you can extract any data that you want and just show it as a chart and get all the information. Over here is just the total balance due of all the invoices that you have open, the total amount that was paid, and what is the balance left, how much people still owe you, all of your clients together. But you can extract any data that you want. If you don't know how to do it, you can always contact us and we will do it for you. You just need to know what you want. So I would like to thank you for watching this, and we hope you'll enjoy our program. And just don't hesitate to call us, contact us, email, text, call us. It doesn't matter. If you ever need any functions, buttons, features, charts, or you have ideas that you want to implement, and we can always help you with that. Thank you very much.